question
Oh,
feed is not your fault. Yeah, okay, that one was my fault. Hey, what up, Draskyl?
what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good, good, good. All same. Dota games, ups and downs, the typical stuff.
Yup. Same here. Same here. Hey, I wanted to ask your help.
Sure.
I have a few targeted questions this time.
Okay.
Okay, let me share my screen. Display capture, screen capture, this one. Okay. All right. Okay. So, um, question number one is, do you guys remember this? Wait, where? Oh yeah, you guys don't have display capture. There we go. Yeah. Question number one is, while playing offlane, if I recognize I'm going to be having a bad or difficult
Draskyl and Grubby on
early
the same
lane,
stream.
what
Dreams do come true.
adjustments can I make as an Underlord, Brew, or Tide, as these are the ones I've been playing the most,
Mm-hmm.
to not feed relentlessly when my support is a pigeon?
Okay. So there are a couple of approaches to this. The best one, by far, and this is if you understand that the lane matchup is not going to favor you, like off the bat. So let's say you're against like Klink Stazzle as Underlord. That's a nightmare for you, right? You simply know that you can't win that lane. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
in that situation, let's say you have like a melee four, like a Clockwork or
One sec, sorry. Before we continue, how about using a real example,
okay.
which was Lich Monkey as Tide? Same problem.
Yes. Okay. So that one's really rough. So the best solution that you can have in this situation is to talk to the four before the wave starts and ask him to drag the wave for you. I know this is an Archon game, but this is something that will automatically like if they do it, then you're gonna have a much better time than you would naturally. If they don't want to do it, then the next best thing is making sure that the camps are blocked so they can't get pulls. This is especially true against Monkey because unlike a lot of cores, like Monkey and Weaver and Ricky Maru, these heroes all had mobility. So a lot of the times, what would happen in the lane is that you would not actually want to block against some of these matchups because if they split up, their kill potential goes away, right? Like if Monkey King and Lich are separated and you and your four are together, you don't have to worry so much about getting killed, right? Because it's a 2v1. But against
Yeah.
Monkey specifically, he will tree dance and he can get to you very quickly even if you're way off to the side, right? So this is kind of a matchup knowledge thing. So in this one specifically, you just want the camps to not spawn on the right if you can, like the small camp especially.
One sec. On the right, we are Radiant.
Sorry. I'm thinking you're I'm thinking you're on the other side. But you want the small camp to never spawn. That's basically like objective number
As
one.
the
If
offlane, yeah. We don't want the small camp to spawn, sure. So let's say
yeah,
we're
yeah.
Radiant, yeah? We don't want the right side small camp to ever spawn, yes? So I'm gonna start loading up this replay. So what happened here is my silencer, someone actually looked at this match history. He has a very PvP oriented mindset. I complained a lot about him, but it was external focus. I need to have an internal focus, but he didn't
Sure.
deward, he didn't block, he didn't anti-block. I kept thinking, without saying anything, that he should fix it, but he didn't. So yeah, go on.
Okay, so let's watch the first couple of waves because I think it's going to be really telling about how the lane is played as far as to like what we can do. So there are some matchups, and this is a bit like higher level than maybe is necessary for this type of a replay. But there are some matchups where your level directly influences how strong you guys are going to be in the lane. So for example, level 1 Monkey is actually not that good, right? He's either going to have Jingu or he's going to have Q, and in some matchups with a silencer support, you can just hit him, right? You can simply just hit him. Also, I lost your
Do you have it again? I reloaded it. You probably have to find it again.
yeah.
I
Hold on
wanted
a
to
second.
switch to window capture instead of display.
Let's see. Yeah, I got it. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So you're saying there are level power spikes and abilities make a difference. So he opened with Jingu.
Yep. So this is normal, but the thing that people do oftentimes, especially at the lower MMRs, people don't really understand their limitations, right? Like they don't understand how strong they are, how weak they are, etc., etc.
Sure.
So at level 1, Jingu is actually pretty crap. Like the lifesteal return on it, you have to hit 4 times before you get it, and you're only getting 25% of that lifesteal, right? So you're tied in this lane. At level 1, if you were to skill something like Gush, and your silencer has Q, you can actually just both hit him together, and you would actually pressure him enough to, him not be able to feel confident in trading. Now, this move right here is just kind of like not respecting their level 1. Like, you have a silencer, you're tied. I would say contesting this rune in general is always going to be inherently extremely risky. So,
I knew this was wrong before I did it.
Yeah.
Say I was not in a logical, emotional state. We met 2v2. I saw none of my other people are joining, and I still walked forward. It was done.
Yeah, so in this, if you ever recognize as the offlane that the level 1 on your team is probably weaker if they bring numbers, this is especially true against like SF type mids who can add an insane amount of burst. Just go for the river rune instead and sit on your hill. So like sit near mid, sit on that thing, and then grab it and then walk to your lane afterwards. You got a nice block here. That's good. It's always nice to get the range creep out in front if you can. But since we already skilled Anchor, what I would do right now, if you pause at like 30, I would just yell at my silencer, I'd be like, I ping behind the T1, and I would try to get him to go back there and either drag the wave or block the small camp. If neither of those things happen, as you level, this lane will get progressively worse. So at level 1 is like the best you're ever going to be against this matchup. Like after 2, it's worse, 3, it's worse, 4, it's worse, and it just keeps getting like increasingly bad. Right. Sorry. Yes. So you can keep playing.
So in this case, ideally from the silencer, you would like to see a pull on the creep wave?
He should already be there, to be honest. Like the fact that he's still in the lane right now is a mistake by him. If you guys aren't gonna do like the Gush and level 1 Q stuff to like harass and deal a lot of damage, because if you think about it logically, if you know you're stronger than them at level 1 and you have Gush, you should be trading right now. Right?
Yeah.
But the fact that we're not trading and we have Anchor already means that we've like conceded the only point in the lane where we would actually be strong, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like the decision, the decision has already been made. Yeah.
If what you said is true, then that makes sense.
Yeah. So since we don't have the Gush combo, like you still do a lot of damage to him. Like imagine if you had the minus armor and the slow, he actually would have probably died there. Right?
Yeah.
And again, that's the understanding of matchup knowledge that I was talking about, is like if you know that, right, then it's all good. And you can just make that trade at level 1 and suddenly the dynamic of the lane is shifted because that guy only had 3 tangos, right? Like, and how much regen does the Lich have?
So in theory, by this time, Silencer could already be annoyed that I died on the bounty rune, obviously, first blooded.
Sure.
And secondly, he may know that we are a strong 1v1 versus 1v1 and be annoyed that I don't have Gush.
Well, he also got the wrong skill, so it's fine. Like you guys, neither one of you guys got the right skill. You should probably always get Curse at level 1. But yeah, the thing is, like, everyone's always going to be making these mistakes, right? Like there's never going to be a situation where everyone's going to play perfect. It just won't happen, right? So what we try to do is we try to adjust for whatever situation we're given. We got a kill on the Lich. I will say against Monkey and let's say Ursa, like these 2 heroes specifically, because you're going to see them a lot as an offlaner.
And Slark a little bit as well.
Yeah. Keep in mind that when you're trading support, even if you don't die, this situation can happen where the support comes back with full mana and the core is still alive and now he's able to farm under the T1, right? This can also sometimes backfire, and like right here, you're actually going to die too. So let's think about... Yeah, that like this death is not the best, obviously. Yeah, it's not the best, but I just want to talk about the idea of you trading damage into a support while the core hits creeps against Monkey and Ursa is almost always bad. Because if this turns into a fight and the Monkey's hitting you, he's going to get Jingu for free, right? The reason why your matchup is strong at lower level is because you can damage him so much in the time that it takes him to stack the Jingu that he can't recover that health, But if you're just hitting the Lich, then what ends up happening is he gets the Jingu for free, you end up getting lower HP, he's full the entire time, and then the trade goes south. Now this is like a little bit of a a different outcome. But if you ever get into that fight, just remember, if you're hitting the support instead of the monkey or the Ursa or even the Slark in a lot of examples, you will often end up losing both your heroes, and that's really bad. So normally what I would recommend is not trying to trade directly with the support and just always be dealing damage to the core when you can, because you want to keep him lower, right? If he's ever able to sit at this amount of HP and he can just hit you for free, that means the lane is in like a default loss state. You want to try to change that by getting him lower.
Yep. Okay, so I'm playing a lot worse than I remember. In my memory after the game, it was all silencing.
Yeah, I mean, but it's natural, right? Because people get frustrated and their emotions lead them down a path that says, hey, you know, it has to be something outside of my control, right? Like that's like the most normal response, I think, of any Dota player. So I wouldn't.
Very emotional, yeah.
Yeah. The other thing too is I'd say the skill build so far is kind of like the opposite of what we would normally go for. So let's think about fundamentally what Kraken does in this lane. It mitigates a little bit of damage.
Yeah,
but
so it's not good against the stacking damage from Jingu.
Well, not only is it not good against the stacking damage, but you also remove all of your kill potential, right? You can peel for the silencer if you have Gush. Like, does Monkey have boots yet? It's 3 minutes in. He may not have boots. Yeah.
He doesn't even have the slowing orb. I guess he's relying on Lich slow.
Yeah, so you guys are actually quite strong.
If you had level 2 spit or just level 1 spit and 2 anchor.
Yeah. If you're a 102, you can just punch him. Yeah. So there's definitely a power shift in this lane because of the skill builds. And even like right now, like, yeah, you feel tanky, right? Which in your head probably makes you feel good that you can't die. But you're also missing out on opportunities to prevent the monkey from hitting creeps. You're missing out on kills. Like, this guy isn't playing that great in the lane.
Yeah.
So there are definitely advantages that you could have taken here.
All I kept thinking about, this is typical because I see the mistake in others more than I saw it in myself here. Like, we're all doing something different.
Yep.
Very bad. That's why we're at this rank. And you remember each other's mistakes, and you're like, oh man, I would be fixing this thing. So for instance, I would definitely be fixing this sentry situation, right? So for 7 minutes, I'm looking at Silencer not clearing the sentry, not deblocking the camp. And I'm just like, yo, are we ever going to pull this camp to fix the lane, which is all the way there?
Yeah.
But also we had, how many deaths? 5 deaths now. At some point I left. And he sees me diving on the tower, diving 1v4, maybe not picking Gush if he has the awareness that this could be a kill lane with Gush.
Yeah, there are a lot of lanes like this for Tide, actually. I think the common denominator, if you're thinking about if you want to get Gush or not, look at your 4 and think about how much damage that guy does for you, right? Is he a ranged 4? Is he a silencer? Is he a lich? You know, there's a lot of these heroes that can supplement your having that skill a lot. And if you notice that you can even hold your skill point if you want to. Like, you don't need to put it in, you know, before the creep wave even spawns. You can just wait and be like, hey, maybe me and this guy can just punch the one player, and is there anything they can do in response? Like, in this lane, there really isn't a whole lot they could have done in the first, like, 2, maybe even 3 levels. And additionally, like, you got to remember, too, the monkey is going to be playing the same level of Dota as everybody else in this game. He's not a god, right? If he was, he wouldn't be here. So yeah, I think this is why I often say, like, in-game learning is very hard, because like you mentioned before, you're emotional, right?
Yep.
So when you have situations where you're frustrated and someone's telling you, it's like, hey man, let's just try this, the first thing that usually happens is you just want to go over the litany of reasons why the game is shit, you know? It's just like that's like probably the most common Dota player response. But yeah, the truth is, you guys actually probably could have won top, like, based on what I've seen. In fact, it's a lane that could have very easily snowballed in your favor.
Yep. Okay, big reality check and humble pie for me. So that's fantastic. I need to do more draft analysis, what we can do in the lane, what they can do to us.
Yep.
And I had really gotten into the habit of going with a standard item build, a standard skill build. Played X many games in a row. I'm like, this works for me. I can farm the ancients eventually. But there's many ways to play a lane. I was thinking, should we have abducted the creep wave? Why isn't he unblocking the camp? We need to be pooling. None of it might have been necessary if we had the kill power, which Silencer, he is a killer in lane. If I have the CC, the gush, the armor reduction, we could have had a kill lane. And even if he doesn't observe standard fundamentals like pulling, maybe we didn't need to do pulls at all. Maybe if I have gush, we either play, yes, next to their tower, which I didn't want to be at. Didn't mean that I had to dive under the tower. But even if it was near their tower, it's like, yeah, okay, so be it. He didn't pull, but hey, we got a lot of PvP power. And like maybe Lich gets every single pull because he never blocked the small camp. But maybe we go there together, and with Gush, we can actually hit the Lich and then just kill him together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the mentality that you need is the three. You have to adapt to what your support's doing, whether you think it's correct or not correct, right? Because it's always better to play together than it is to play isolated. The only exceptions to this are like maybe the safe laner, because that guy is more of an island type role. But the reality is in this game, you guys for sure could win top. Like that monkey was just getting his ass beat on the first wave, and you didn't even have the minus armor. So there's like you said, there's just multiple ways to play a lane. Now, it's not that every lane is a gush lane, but a lot of them, like having a value point into it, like let's say before you hit level 5, you have 1 point into gush, usually it's okay, right?
Yeah.
The double Kraken
1-1-3 seems good.
The double Kraken is nice for when you want to farm ancients and stuff. And as far as your items go, I don't think your items really matter that much. If I'm being completely honest, like it's more
I don't
about
think it matters if I have Soul Ring or Arcane Boots or Face Boots.
Yeah, it's more about just like the early game. Like a lot of the time when I play my own games, what I'll do is I'll say, oh, this guy's like an 8-minute player. Like he understands laning, he understands his timings. But after that point, they kind of get lost. I think you actually have like the opposite problem, where I think your builds are normally your builds are normally okay, and then there will often be times where you either can win a lane, or let's say you can't, but you lose it harder than you should. Right?
Yep.
Like I think that's probably, as a player, that's the thing that I see the most.
Yep, true. I think that's true. Okay, so I think that helps a lot to process the trauma of this one and realize that part of the trauma was self-inflicted.
Yep, I mean, I do it too. I do it too. I get frustrated, and later I'm like, ah, shit, I should have done this. You know, like that's how you learn.
Question number 2. If it did get to the point where I have started losing the lane for whatever reason, then what changes can I make to stop the bleeding? And so there's a wide variety of things that happened recently. So for instance, there was one game where I'm 1v2, my support left me. I'm post 3, right? I'm 1v2, my support left me. I can't step within 600 range of creep wave, but I can step within 12. What's XP range?
I think it's 1300. It's 12 or 13 around there. Yeah.
Yeah, but I can step within 1300 range to safe soak, no gold. Do I? I'm level 4, let's say.
Okay, so this one is a bit more tricky because of your hero pool. You said you play Underlord, Tide, and Brew?
Yeah, and Razor and Visage.
Okay,
yeah, maybe a few more.
The Underlord, the Tide, the Brew, these types of heroes, if your support just straight up leaves, it's good to keep an eye on what the enemy 5 is doing. Like, if you can figure out where he is he still in your lane? You know, did he rotate somewhere else because it turned into a 1v1?
Yes.
Like, if you can keep tabs, okay, yeah, if he's still in the lane, you have to assess the matchup first. So, can you get away with dragging the wave from behind the tower, for example? Like, does the support...
I will die.
Okay, so if you'll die, and you're level 4, and you can't walk into EXP range, then your next...
I can walk into EXP range, but I cannot walk into gold retrieving range.
Yeah, then soaking is like the only thing you really can do unless you want to start stacking camps. This is dependent on if you can actually kill them, by the way. If you can't kill them, you definitely don't want to stack, because then you'll have a part on the map that later on you can't actually take advantage of. But yeah, normally I would try to communicate with the 4 and say, look, if you're not here, I don't exist, right? Like there's just situations as the offlaner where this is going to kind of happen. And if it's especially if it's pre-6, right? Because if you're brew, you don't have split, you don't have, you know, Underlord, Portal, or Ravage or anything else. So your team fight potential is not really that good. A lot of the time, what's necessary for you there is just to communicate and ask if the person can come back to lane with you, because if they do, you know, great. Then you can start contesting again. But there are just simply going to be times where the offlane is sacked, right? Because let's say you have a bad hero matchup, you know, Monkey versus Tide gets worse as you level, and then you know eventually you're just not going to be able to play that lane anymore. But this is a common thing that happens actually even in a lot higher MMR, is the 4 will not recognize that he is required to sit in the lane in order for the offlaner to have a game. This happens constantly. Like,
yeah, my 4 suck ass.
Yeah. The truth is, like, you just have to talk to him. Like, you might not want to, but you got to be like, yo, man, I need you here, right? Mm-hmm. Like, try to be diplomatic about it. You're like, yo, could you please come top? I need your help. If they don't listen, then just try to soak whatever you can get. Because some heroes just don't jungle well early. Like, even Underlord and Tide, you can, kind of, but it's slow. You just have to accept that someone on the other team is going to also be having probably an equally bad time. Like, that's maybe the biggest thing that I think that people forget, is it's not often that someone on the enemy team is not suffering just as bad, if not worse than you are, right? Like, this is a very common theme.
Sadly, that's usually not happening in my experience, but you have to hope for it, yes. Let's look at one more example here.
Okay.
On the Lord, Lina, we open with Light Strike Array and Fire. Juggernaut, again, I thought it's going to be a hard lane, potentially, because Juggernaut, Blade Fury has a lot of kill power. AA can slow me. So my idea was, as you can see in the itemization, if I rush face boots, I can maybe get away from Jugger AA. But I didn't really know if I should believe it.
So this lane, actually, you guys probably have the advantage until, like, let's say, maybe even level 5. You guys are actually stronger. If you look at your base damage, you have 70. Jugs is significantly lower, and Lina's one of the strongest laners in the game, just period. So this lane,
we can just hit Juggernaut, and she can just run him, and either she will hit or she will miss. He will be using Blade Fury to get away. We get the wave, we shove under tower, and so on.
Yeah. So if looking at the positioning, the first thing that should happen is she should hit the AA, and you should walk over to the AA and try to hit him together. Like, whenever you're trading in lane, it's always beneficial if both heroes are going for the same target, especially when you're not on the wave, because you're not manipulating it. You deal a bit of damage, right, to the AA, and then you walk back to the wave. So what happens is that you might lose a creep, but you're forcing the guy to use so much regen that value outweighs you going to get one last hit, right? And then once the AA is forced back under tower, then the Lina can move to whatever position she needs to be in to hit the jug. But your basic ideology is correct. You just want to hit them. Like, this lane is all about hitting. Level 1 spin, we don't care about that. We have 800 health. If he spins on me, and me and the Lina are both attacking this guy, he's just going to die. Like, the AA offers very little at the beginning of the game.
So, positionally, we should hit the AA. But if the AA was here, positionally, we should hit the Jugger.
Yes, correct. You're trying to bully this guy out of the spot because he shouldn't be allowed to stand here.
Okay, let's see what happens. I think I'm going to do a pull on my range creep.
Yeah, that's fine too. The AA backs instantly, so this is actually okay. But you just, like, we call it posturing, right? You're walking towards him because you want him to not stand where he is, because that way he hits you, and you don't want that to happen. You would rather the Lina trade with him because she has, like, look at how badly the AA is losing the trade. Right.
Yeah, so like, she did well so far. She did what you would have to do.
Yeah, and then she should just be walking back to you right now, since the camp can't be pulled, I don't think. Did he block it with a ward, or? Yeah, it's going to spawn in 10. Okay. So it hasn't spawned yet. 10 seconds till it spawns. She'll stop this from spawning, and then she'll probably walk to you. At least that's what I would assume would happen.
Okay. Ooh. So my goal in this lane was to hit Jugger a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
So what do you think is going to happen with this creep wave?
I mean, the worst thing that can happen is that these waves miss each other. You actually want them to connect because you guys have the superiority in lane. When
Yeah,
you're the
that's what I
stronger
thought.
lane, yeah, when you have the stronger two heroes, you never want to do this kind of weird creep manipulation, because what's going to happen is they're going to get more farm than they should because they're not taking damage, right? Like if this guy pulls the
Yes.
wave under tower now, he's a-okay with that. He has tower regen, he has tower armor, he's got stout shield built in, the melee creeps deal like almost no damage. This is really bad. The fact that he let that auto attack go is super bad for your lane.
Yeah, but he could just send it here.
He could, yeah. That's what he should do. If he doesn't do
Yeah.
that, it's bad.
Yeah. So I watched the game of Ice Ice, and I watched some other replays, and I saw like Thompson. I saw that people hit each other a lot more than I did. So my goal was to try and hit Jugger a lot, and so far it went okay. He got hurt a bit. So now I was wondering, okay, where's their wave? I didn't know. I didn't see it immediately. And now we have this big wave. So in this situation, what should I do here? Should I go in and get some cheeky hits on Jugger? Or because I'm melee, I should only try to deny?
Only
Or should
deny. Only deny. Yeah.
Should I go back to get our own creep wave?
Yeah, so this is a situation that I was referring to that's not good, because even if you're walking at him and going for denies and stuff, which is the correct response, ideally it would be the Lena here, because she could hit him under tower and you would have the wave on
Right.
you, and then you pull it to your next wave and you force them to connect, and then you deny the next wave. That would be like the ideal thing. So what in a high level game, if this ever happened, which I doubt it would, the Lena would probably walk to where you are and try to make the wave connect again.
Yeah.
Or she would trade places with you and you would just go walk with the wave back, and she would drag it to you and you would pull it back by your T1. Those would be like I think the counterplays to this.
Understood. So my
yeah.
awareness was not so good. I go in here for denies. I
That's
don't know
good
how
though.
many I get.
The deny portion is like a almost equally good thing to do in this situation, and like you hitting him and stuff. Like honestly, so far, like you're playing it fine given the circumstances. There's only so much you can do. The Lena has done some very not good things for your lane here.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But also, I'm trying to train my awareness, and I was not aware that it happened until here. I mean, I knew there was something funky going on with the wave, but I didn't look at it because I was so focused on the last hit deny. When I saw this, I was not super happy about it, but I figured, Lina is also a good damage dealer. He's going to get something out of it. But then I thought, I am very low level because of this, though.
Yes, she essentially denied you a full wave of EXP. She did what the enemy support tries to do to you.
Yeah.
So
And she
yeah,
did it for them.
yeah, it's very very bad.
So now he gets a good odds to do a Blade Fury on both of us. Gets a lot of damage in. Not much I can do about that. I
She
tried
should
to
have
get some
turned there.
damage.
Yeah,
Do you like that stun?
he turned late. I think he realized like 2 seconds later what he needed to do there. Because if he times it right, he can just LSA in front of himself. Because LSA is a circular animation, so you can actually target it in front if the guy's super close, or you can just turn as the spin's gonna end, and this guy would probably just die. So yeah.
It's the range search. Oh, okay. So he just tried to do stun on self at the end of the Fury.
Yeah, we call that a little bit of the brain lag. It happens. But yeah, I mean, the Jug actually hasn't hit that many creeps. The bigger issue, I would say, here is the levels, because the Jug is halfway to level 2, right? How much EXP do you have?
We have all hit very few creeps. 4, 3, 3. His level's 2.5, like you said.
Yeah, so he's like half a level
1.5 AA.
ahead. Yeah, so this is the reason why this is a problem, is because the higher level spins become more and more problematic, and the more levels the AA gets, he's going to be able to add more damage. So, all right, this Lena's spell use is upsetting, but you know we're going to move past it, Grubby. We're going to move past it.
I was getting so tilted. I'm seeing stun after stun miss. But
Yeah.
like that. So at this point, yeah, I'm getting tilted that he's missing all the stuns, that he abducted the wave. And it doesn't seem like that hard of a thing to hit the stun if we play together. But so what do I start doing now? What do I start doing now?
Well, you have a wave coming in, right? So let's talk about equilibrium and stuff. If you look at the game clock, it's 2:14. We see the AA in
20,
lane.
I can pull this.
Well, sure, you can pull, but look at how many creeps are currently walking into you, right? You're going to actually get double waved here. Because the next wave is coming in like 10 seconds. They have 3 melee creeps in 1 range. You have 1 melee, which means the next wave, right, is going to be here in like roughly 10 to 15. So if you know that, if you just look at the clock, you see how many creeps they still have, and then you go, okay, yeah, because the creeps spawn every 30, right? So 2 minutes, 2:30, 3 minutes, 30, etc., etc. So you don't have to do anything here. The wave is naturally going to push into you. What should happen? Yeah, what should happen is that the Lina should leave you because you're going to be safely next to your tower. The AA is still level 1. He might hit 2 off this wave, but even if he does, it doesn't matter. You're going to be able to get solo EXP. Like in a higher level game, the Lina would leave you, and you would probably get like... Yeah, it would probably leave you and then go walk to the right, maybe go for the bounty rune at 3 minutes or something. Because the likelihood of you dying under your T1 right now is like 0, right? Like you won't die there. And you know the wave is pushing
like steal enemy gold bounty rune, maybe?
Yeah, that's what a good 4 would do. He would just ditch you and be like, yeah, you're fine here. I'm going to let you get 2 waves of free EXP so you can catch up to the jug, because that's what you need right now. And then you would hit 3, you'd have your level 2 Firestorm, and you could start just like pushing wave if you need to, and then, you know, just play however you need to as the lane goes on. But yeah, the next wave will be coming here. And it should be like pretty easy, honestly. Like this lane is... It's scary in the sense that if you overcommit, you could die, but them killing you is also a very low likelihood. Because AA is not actually a kill hero with Jug. There's no stun, right? There's not even a slow.
If you're too deep, he slows you with the E, and then the Jugger Blade Fury's after you, and you take 575 magical damage reduced by magic resistance. So let's say 450 damage.
Yeah, but you have 800 HP and your high health, right?
Right. So the AA will add another bit of damage, and then the question is, will I still be slowed where he can hit me once or twice? So I guess I'll be in a danger when I drop below 700.
Yeah, it's knowing your limits. In this lane, I would be kind of chill. I wouldn't really be too concerned about even if I die like once or twice. I mean, I don't think you should die in this lane as Underlord, but the boots adaptation is fine because that means that you're going to be able to like walk away from the jug so long as you know that he doesn't have boots if you click on him, and you do have boots. So what does that mean? That means that even with the slow, you're going to outpace him. Like you're going to be able to walk away for free, and he'll never be able to commit for a kill unless you're really, really low. So that's why I'm saying, like, if I'm you in this situation, I feel very confident and safe because I know that I'm high health. You know, my support has a ton of regen. If I get hit, you know, she can salve me or she can give me tangos and stuff. Like, they get a small pull, but that's fine because the AA is just soaking EXP from the jug, right? Like, the AA being here doesn't actually contribute much to the lane, and you guys could theoretically just turn and hit the AA there if you wanted to, like, apply pressure to the lane.
Look at all the stuns.
Yeah, I mean, he's missing a lot of stuns, but the truth is you're not really being pressured either. Like, I understand that it's frustrating...
The creep wave pool, like, he's not doing anything about that either. So like,
yeah, but the AA is playing it equally as bad. Like, why is this guy even here? He's just soaking EXP from the Juggernaut. Like, you can't kill the Jug, and they can't kill you, right?
But we lost creeps, and they did not.
Right, but your CS is still higher than the Jug's. You're 11 and 6. The Jug is 7 and 1. Like, this lane is actually fine. Like, yes, the Lina did some big oopsie and missed a bunch of stuns, but you got to remember, like, these players are all the same. Like, they're not any better, right? Like, they're all doing, like, all these mistakes all the time. Like, your laning phase, like, yes, your EXP is low because the Lina basically denied you a wave. But the cool thing about Underlord is that once you get, like, level 5, your Q just deletes waves the whole game. Like, you can play side lanes, you can port to fights, you can delay the game as much as you want. Like, that's this hero's bread and butter. You can make the game last so long that your Spectre and all these other heroes on your team are going to be able to get 6-slotted because of how good of a spell Firestorm is at not only protecting towers, but fighting in chokes and sitting on your high ground and stuff. So your mentality as this hero is always the same. You know, EXP is paramount. Like, gold is great if you can get it. If not, you know, whatever. But we care about EXP the most. And if they're not zoning me out of EXP range, then we don't care. We just don't. Even if we die a handful of times.
You're just thinking, because we have such a strong lane pushing mechanic, 1, we can draw out the game. 2, we need XP for skills. And 3, we can make up for net worth later. It doesn't matter if we hit a snatch.
Yeah, that's Underlord's whole bit. Yeah, that's his whole thing.
So I'm thinking, like, oh, I could be getting more net worth, but maybe it's okay if it's delayed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to
Better than
remember the last time I coached you, what did I say? I said the enemy is going to throw on your hill.
yeah.
Guess who loves that situation more than like any other hero in the entire game is this guy. Like you have what
Yeah.
we would call like the high ground defender heroes. So
Yeah.
yours is like top 5 on that list of heroes that are a nightmare to push into for many
Mm.
reasons. So Underlord is always okay with the game kind of stretching out, especially with the new ult, because you can make some cool like teleport plays later on and get like kills and stuff like that. But as long as you're not being like bullied off the creep wave, I would honestly say that it's fine.
In this case, I feel pressured to compete hard here, and I'm annoyed that it's at the tower. But if I had good insight, which I maybe now have with a little bit more patience, is that this will rubber band back to us again because they have slightly more creeps than us, two ranged. Our ranged might die sooner, or at least one creep is under the tower. It will probably like get here if nothing else happens, right?
Yeah, your range creep is also going to die too, because that melee will die to the tower, and then the wave will walk up. So what you could do is you could just pull the wave back into your double range, and then
Yeah.
what'll happen is the wave will naturally go backwards. Okay, so this is just a very big misplay. Level 2 spin.
Yeah.
We don't ever want to trade our health bar for no reason. So we know
Yeah.
that the jug has spin. What
How
it's
did this
okay
happen?
it's okay to firestorm the wave, but I think a couple of things, right? We could take a couple of things away from this one moment. First, level 1 firestorming right now is kind of weak because you're so close to
Yeah.
level 3, right? Like look at
Yeah.
your EXP. Always important to note when you're going to hit the next level, especially when it allows you to skill a nuke, because that just means your power spike is that much better. We could just do a simple aggro toggle to move them back to the range to get the wave to
True.
ping into us quicker. And then we wait for the level 3, and then we cast the Firestorm as soon as we hit 3 instead. And also just
Yeah. And
like not respecting the damage output.
I mean, I was afraid of it since the start, so it's not that I wasn't respecting it. It's that like I felt like it's gonna happen all the time. It's not like I didn't know it could happen, but I'm trying to think what was I so focused on that I allowed it to happen at that moment. So I'm in a 2v1. I'm not sure what he's doing actually. He was looking at the creeps. He
I
was
think he
trying to
wanted
make a
his
pull.
courier. Yeah, he had something on the courier, I think, delivered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was his boots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I should have pulled them back on my range creep here and then just walk away. The
Yep.
moment I get hit by Chilling Touch while I'm melee with Jugger and I'm alone and I'm level 2 and he's 3 and I wanted that creep. So instead of pulling it, I saw one creep drop relatively low and I wanted to hit it.
I'll give you a bit
And
of
now I
advice that really helped
yeah.
me. Never assume that any one creep is worth 2 heroes hitting you. I think that's probably one of the
Mm,
single things that helped me the most as an offlane player, is that you'll think in the moment, man, I really want this golden EXP. And then both heroes will be sitting right next to each other. They'll cast a full round of spells on you. Doesn't even matter who it is, right? It could be any
yeah.
combination of 2 heroes. And you'll end
Yeah.
up losing like, 40, 50, 60% of your health pool. And then all of a sudden what happens, right? Can you contest the wave anymore? Like
Yeah.
it like this kind of stuff happens a lot. Now the benefit of them using it on the wave is that Jug killed the wave, so now it's gonna shove in, right? But some heroes
Yeah.
won't do that. Some heroes won't kill the wave. They'll just harass you for free, and then the dynamic won't change, and you won't be getting creeps. You'll be getting nothing, right? So just try to keep that in mind whenever you walk in. It's like, hey, realistically, how much am I gonna get hit for making this type of play when my support's not here?
Yeah. Now I'm way too far again. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm doing here actually.
Well, his spin's down. It should be down for at least one wave. I think level 2 spin
That,
CD
that,
is what, 36 seconds?
that
34?
that's actually what I thought. I don't
Yeah.
know what I was doing here, but I did think spin is down, but it's not.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
been a
okay.
while.
So it's back up. And does this actually kill you? I don't actually know if you die
Yeah, yeah,
here.
yeah. I remember dying here. I was actually
Okay.
surprised by AA specking W. I think it was pretty cool to make kills more likely because usually when I follow Dota Plus, it says EQ. Um, but he's got the W, so a little bit extra slow makes Blade Fury stick more.
Yeah.
I
So
just got a
even
heal solve from Lina, and I had Tango on a branch also from myself or from Lina, and then I went to go die immediately after.
yeah, so let's talk a little bit about this type of death. I will not condone this death as saying it's like good or anything, but look at the state of the wave. Again, you're going to have 2 waves coming into you, and you're still ahead on CS. Like you said at the beginning that you thought this lane was like really bad or whatever, but to be honest, like you firestorm these 2 waves, you're higher net worth in the jug. And he can't contest this wave that freely because the Lina is standing right next to you, right? Like the AA is off trying to fix the wave by doing a pull. The Lina should ideally be trying to stop it. And firestorming the jug here is like, I mean, I suppose if you just want to keep the wave where it is, it's not that bad. But also keep in mind that when you have this many creeps, you can never play aggro, right?
Well, I can kind of be hit. Like Lina is safer because I can get hit, and I figured since I recognized AA is missing, he's gonna do a pull, and then in that moment we are 2v1 against him, and then I thought maybe we can hit him together.
Well, what I mean is that because the wave is pushing in so hard, it's good that you're going to delete away from the jug. It just simply means that the Lina is going to have a hard time walking over now because the wave is basically shoved into your face, and if the jug follows her, she can't contest the A's pull anymore, right? Like if she does, she's going to get spotted. And then those are the types of things where in high-level play, if the 4 walks over like that in vision and the 1 is paying attention, the 4 will just feed, right? And then you lose the wave and the 4 dies. So that's like just something to keep in mind. I don't know how often it happens at this level, but if you're ever pushed in, yeah, if you're ever pushed in like that, especially when the 1 player has the ability to get to the small camp quickly, like I mentioned, Monkey, Weaver, Ricky, you know, the heroes with the mobility spells,
Yeah,
they will
Monkey does that.
they will do that a lot, and it will just get your 4 killed. So if you're gonna aggro Firestorm, try not to do it on heroes like Jug and Lifestealer. Try to just always push it on the wave, so that way you guys always have creep advantage and you can open up your own pulls. Like that's another big benefit of Underlord, is that you're so good at killing the creep wave because you have the highest AoE nuke in the game that's a non-ult. Like it's even higher than spin damage, I think. So you can always shove in whenever you choose, and shoving in has the added benefit of opening up your own opportunities to play the wave how you want.
We get some tower damage, especially catapult wave. We can do a lane pull in 20 seconds from now if we want to. We can go behind the tower and hit AA perhaps. Stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, if I was AA, I wouldn't have pulled here, because cards spawn every 5, right? So the problem with pulling here is that if too many of his creeps die, his tower just gets owned, right? Because if he gets his whole wave deleted, even if the jug is there, like his tower is going to get hit by the cart and stuff, and like contesting this is all fine and good. But I think if I was the Lina, I would probably be hitting the jug right now instead of being at the small cap. Like it's very obvious that this Lina is kind of clueless, but that's okay. We're just trying to play the lane however we can based on what we're given. Because Alina actually is level 4 and you're level 3. If that happened in my game, I would be very upset. I'd be like, yo, how do you have so much EXP? Something's wrong here. But the fact of the matter is, no matter how bad it seems that it's going, your farm is still better than his. Like, even though he's got EXP on you, you still are 26 and 10. You have a lot more farm than this guy.
Yeah, so I'm richer.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it.
Really higher?
I think some of it might be. Yeah, it is higher, even despite the death. So he's killed you once, and you have more net worth. So again, it's more about the EXP game for you. But this is just to make you understand that when you're playing heroes like Underlord, it might seem like you're not able to do that much, but that's okay. Right? Because your hero is going to always be able to contribute in the mid and especially the late game. The late game is where your hero is just unbelievably obnoxious and hard to play into.
So I think I agree with that, and I think it's good to have an attitude where it's like it's okay if we're not doing anything flashy now, because the feeling of not being okay with it makes you do flashy dumb shit.
Yeah, you want to try to like get every single ounce of advantage that you can, but the truth is Underlord just isn't that hero. You know, if you have Lina, like one of the strongest 4s in the game. Now, let's be real and say that this guy's spell use has been suboptimal, right? He's missed like probably more stuns than I've ever seen. But the fact is, even with a good Lina, this lane would probably not kill that many heroes, right? Because you don't offer much except for damage. The lanes that you would kill with are like Tusk, right? Because he can hard force the kill, or like a Clockwork where they
lockdown gets me bonus atrophy aura attacks in.
Yeah, so like those are the guys that you're gonna kill with. You're not gonna kill with like Lina or whatever unless they're really, really overcommitting to try to go all in on you guys. So that's how you have to view
Right.
the lane. If they
Or
commit,
maybe if we get to like level 4 or 5 and I pick one Pit of Malice, which I often do regret, but Pit of Malice, like with Mirana, Lina, maybe I can root and then it can set up for the stun and we can get a kill.
it's not the worst, yeah, but it would also kind of necessitate getting arcanes because Underlord's mana pool, as you can see, is pretty bad.
Yeah,
Right,
I
so
usually get Soul Ring. This was like the one game where I went face boots because I was afraid of a Juggernaut killing me
Yeah.
over and over.
So as long as you're making the distinction that skilling Pit is going to require you to build a mana item, you're fine. But if you skill Pit and don't build a mana item, it's going to be rough.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't.
Okay,
wouldn't
okay,
do
that's
that.
fine then. Yeah.
So I think I've got most of what I want out of this early game in conversation with you. Just a second.
Sure.
Thoughts on that. The big question now would be, okay, let's say we are okay with not getting more out of this. I'm about to feed on tower, by the way, because I felt like, why isn't Lina killing the heal ward? Why aren't we pressuring the low Juggernaut? They killed their whole creep wave on the creep. We have a catapult wave. He should be here, but he's just like, I don't know. He's just going away.
He's
There's
going to
no
pull, I
reason
think.
for him. Yeah, you think so?
Well, I mean, I don't know why else he would be there. I'm just going with the only reasoning that I can think of for him to stand there is to try to pull. But I
But
will
he's too
say,
late. Like if he was gonna, or maybe he saw that I was feeding. That's why. Maybe he was
Yeah,
gonna
he-
pull at 620, and then I just randomly feed in tower. Terrible,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely horrible.
yeah, this death is quite bad, especially since you TP'd.
Yeah.
This is actually the point where I would say the game got really bad for you.
Yeah, yeah.
The
I'm doing stupid shit because I got tilted from things that I felt like were making our lane bad when it wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought I knew it all. I'm like, oh, you know, this camp and the pulls and not doing anything there, and he's missing all his stuns. And because I focus on that, even though I tried to tell myself, don't focus on that today, then I start being like, well, we should have been doing more, and then let's go die. And it wasn't as bad as you illustrated as it could be. So okay, I tried to work on that and be more okay with, definitely more okay with an average lane if the opposite is me acting like a baboon, like here. My question here would be, let's say my net worth is okay, which it was. We got good last hits. But what do I do as a level 3 Underlord when I'm 3 and Jugger is 5? Like, how do
let's
I still
rewind
do anything
this.
in lane?
Let's rewind this like 10 seconds because we're gonna go through this step by step. Okay, so before you died, all right, let's take a look at what's happening. Now, if we pause right here, pause right here. The wave you know is going to die. Why? Because it's under tower. Now, in a higher level game, yes, the Lina would absolutely be hitting the Jug. You guys would be getting a lot of damage in, but I don't think there's ever a situation where you kill here unless he doesn't have spin. You could only ever pressure. And because the Lina isn't here, there's just simply no play to be made, and you have to concede that and just back up. Right?
But
Because
the two of us, we just go here. If he doesn't do it, I will. I pull my own lane.
Yes, exactly
Yeah.
that. Because again, we're looking for the EXP game. We want levels. If you took like a second here and realized that you were 2 levels under, you probably never make this play, right? And this TP, even okay, let's say even you go die here, but you don't TP, it's still okay.
It was so bad.
It was
so
everything happening at the same time, right? And it's okay, man. I tilt all the freaking time. All the time, dude.
It could not be worse. And then I like smoke back and I'm like, I don't even know where I should go because by the time I get there, he's level 6. And Lina was like asking why. And then he went AFK to wait for an answer, but I didn't answer. And I get it. I get his why. But I kept all my whys to myself. I thought that was ironic. Because like, why you miss all your stuns? Why you didn't contest pulls? Why did you pull? So, but yeah, you know, he's like, why? And I get it because that looked super dumb, and it was. So what? So yeah, I guess.
You can contest this pull, by the way, for free. Like, okay, so here's another important lesson: the wave is being walked into the T1 of the enemy, which means this camp is free. Right, because the Jug simply just won't be able to be here. So you can just firestorm it. You can just get all the goodness out of it. So this is still fine. Like let's keep watching for a little bit longer because I want to know like how it really goes south. Like obviously that last play was rough, but let's keep an eye on it. So, important thing to remember about Jug, he can't Omni you here. He can't, because there's creeps, right? So the first thing he's going to want to do, is try to clear the wave with spin. If you see him making like that sort of aggro play where he starts spinning on the wave and stuff, just walk into trees. You know, just go hide. Like, don't... You can't sit on the wave, because the wave will end up dying first, and then the only Omni targets will be you and the Lina, which is the worst case scenario. But I think a lot of people respect level 1 Omni way too much. Like, it's actually not that big of a deal to get level 1 Omni'd, especially if the guy has no attack speed, which in this case, he just simply has brown boots. So he's not... Like, he's not really going to be doing that much to you. He doesn't even have completed phase.
So do you think I should fire rain the creep wave here?
I think that... You could actually Firestorm here, maybe force him to spin. Because some people at this level will just spin for the sake of spinning, right? Like, there won't actually be any real thought process behind it. They'll just push the button. And when that happens, you know, the Lina gets opportunities to, like, hit stuff. But yeah, he's spinning on you and not the wave, right? In this particular moment, you have to kind of make sure you stay on this side. And then when the spin ends, you walk back to the wave, right? Because you don't want your creeps to die. It's going to be a little bit scary, right? Because you're going to be taking some damage. So the optimal play would be to tango the tree to your left, and then you wait until the spin runs out and walk back to the wave. And that way, when he omnis, you have a lower chance of being dead.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I eat this, then I walk here, or here. You see my cursor?
I can't see it, but it's just anywhere near the creeps would be fine. Like, as long as
center of the screen.
Yeah, well, to the right. Like, you see where your creep wave is, like the banner creep and stuff next to the cart. As long as those aren't getting hit right now, you're actually fine.
Okay. So I just that would be exactly where I am.
Yeah, no, you're in a good spot. I'm saying if you walked back to your wave right now, that would be bad.
But since he followed, I got slowed. Now he's gonna Omni.
Yeah, so we parted from the creep wave. That's part of the issue.
But otherwise, he just kills me with physical hits, I'm afraid, at this point.
Yeah. So actually, you tanked everything and didn't die, right? So this is what I'm saying. Like, people respect level 1 Omni a little bit too much. You got a little bit lucky with the bounces, because if you guys both
Lina.
if you
Lina
both just
ate a few of the Omni slashes.
Yeah. If you both just don't panic a little bit and you play a little bit nearer the wave, he can't even Omni, and you can actually just hit him. I'm not sure if you guys actually get the kill, but it would be very, very close. It is possible that you could kill him. And now the Jug is just out of resources. So he spun twice, he used Omni. This is a point where the wave is pushing into you, and you know for certain that he does not have his kill ability. So you actually don't even lose out on that much EXP. So the end result is that your 4 died for the 1 position, ulting, and using 2 spins, which I would actually say, single-handedly, the best contribution that this Lina made to your lane was right there. Because he just ate a million spells and gave you a creep wave of solo EXP. That's more than he's done for you, Grubby, the whole game. Right there. Yeah. That was his biggest contribution.
Of course, I haven't done that much for him too, but kind of feels true. But now what do? The wave is in equilibrium or against us even, because this...
Yeah, so what you do right now is you just Mango, you Firestorm the wave as soon as it's up, because you know that you can't walk in, right? But you need this wave to die and get pushed up so you can open up an opportunity to potentially pull or contest the AA on the right if he pulls, right? I think you actually warded the small camp by now. I think there is actually a sentry there. But the idea...
I need to do rubber banding now.
Yeah, you need to ping pong the wave. You need to get it out, and then as soon as you get it out, you can... like, what you would want to do is just you already wanted to push Q and walk away. Like, you don't want to be close to this guy. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I think chat told me that as well after the game. Q, shove, hide from the trees, Q, shove, and walk away. And since XP range is 1300 and AA has been hanging towards here more, I should have probably gone like this, Q from here, and then stand behind these trees right here.
Yeah, you can do any of that stuff. The main idea is that because Underlord is a very unique hero, he's like one of the only offlaners, I think, that can actually kill the wave as easily as he can.
Really far.
Yeah, and he can do it from really, really far away as well. So if you're ever in these situations, he's not like Tide. You know, you don't need to anchor smash 2 or 3 times. 1 Q press, you know, especially level 3, that wave is going to die. Now, you might not get all the gold from it, but that's okay because the end result is that the wave is shoving into the tower. They're going to either be forced back or they're going to just deliver you more EXP by walking into you because that means their wave is also going to be walking up. So I think the big takeaways from all of these games is just understanding the wave a little bit more. And even if you don't know the matchup that well, understanding the wave works in all matchups. Doesn't even matter what heroes you're playing. You all the wave manipulation tricks and stuff, they all are the same. So I think that
I think I couldn't accept not hitting creeps ever. Like no matter what, I wanted to hit creeps.
yeah, I mean it's rough when you're playing a core hero and you feel like you should be able to get these creeps. And yes, the 4 player did play very, very badly, and the lane definitely went way worse than it ever should. But there's going to be situations in your games where that happens, and it's going to be on the other team, and there's going to be games where it happens, and it's going to be on both teams. And it's just, the quicker you can be okay with your lane not being immaculate, the way better off you're going to be, as long as you remember the stuff that we talked about here.
Yes. Yes. When my support is good, we are flying. We're flying. But when my support is like a little bit bad or quite bad,
they're going to be clowns. They are
Yeah.
going to be absolute clowns. I promise. They're clowns all the way up. They're clowns in my games. They're clowns in your games.
But
I
what
say
I mean
this.
is, I make it even worse than it has to be. So much worse.
Oh yeah, the compound issue definitely exists, where the core player tilts because the 4 player or the 5 player is playing the lane like very, very poorly. But it's because the support role is often the worst played roles because they are technically the hardest because they require understanding of many, many more things than what the core actually needs to know. So
Yeah.
it's more common that they get misplayed. And if you can
Yes.
if you can keep your chill, and just play the lane,
Yes.
I think you'll have a lot more success.
Yes, I will try. Thank you. This solves, or at least this gives me a great material to work with for many of the frustrations that have been building up as I focus on Offlane and to take personal responsibility for the situation and what I can do. My final question, I guess I have 2 questions. Question 3 is a small one. If I am going to creep abduct, what's the timing for it? And when can I not do it? So let's say at 40 seconds, I want to be roughly here.
That's
And then
it's the same time as you would pull the small camp. So if you have
Yeah.
a similar understanding of like, okay, 17,
Yeah.
18, and then 47, 48, those are when you
right.
want to be in that little choke
And then
area to get the
How
creeps.
do I pull it? Do I pull it down river here
Yep.
and then up river
Yep. And then you're
and then
going to pull
behind
it.
tower?
Yes, you're gonna want to go further down than that though. If you walk diagonally to the left like
Oh,
that, you'll end up the tower will end up hitting it, or you'll lose
yes.
vision. You see the very very dark green tree on the bottom of your screen, like way on the bottom, the one that's
This
like
one?
off in the middle of nowhere, right by the ramp.
Uh,
No, you passed it. It goes right back down. Sorry, I can't see your cursor.
yeah.
It's really hard. There's
Yeah.
one tree that's shorter than the other ones. It's very dark green. That's standing by itself to the left of your ramp, going into the ancient camp. No, going into
This
the
one?
ancient camp.
Oh,
Into the
sorry.
yeah.
This one?
Yeah. You're centered on it right now. Perfect. Yeah, you drag it
Yeah.
below that tree and to the left.
From the right side or from the left side of it?
From the right side.
Oh, so I go here, right
Yeah.
past the stairs, and then here.
Yep. Just like
Which
that.
wave will I meet? One wave will be lost on. Wait.
Yeah, the timing works out in that
Oh,
you
yeah.
will one wave will be lost, but it has to be that way, and you're denying a wave regardless. So
Yeah.
it ends up being equal, but the cool part about this trick is that if you do it well and you start autoing your own creeps as soon as you can, you will actually kill 1.5 waves. And if you do it really well, you can almost kill 2 full waves and deny guarantee 2 ranged, which is super, super impactful.
But what happens with the 120 wave?
So when you pull, what ends up happening is that the waves, like you're dragging their wave away, which means that your wave is going to walk into their tier 1, right?
Yeah.
What the high level players will do is the core player will take the wave, drag it to the right, and bring it to a camp, right? Because
Oh,
that
yeah.
way, that's the
doesn't die.
normal. That's a normal counterplay. In this bracket, what is likely to happen is the core player will drag it under their tier 1 and farm it under the tier 1, which is
Yeah,
good
and
for
then-
you.
That's good, yes. And then their next wave shows up and meets nothing
And then it
because I'm
hits your tower. Yeah.
yeah, and then my support will take it.
Well, you take them both, ideally. So there are two situations. The first one is that you want to over deny, right? If you're doing that strategy, the support will need to get the wave because you will be.
So if I manage to deny 8 of my own creeps 2 waves,
Well, you can. I
then
think you
he
can
would.
only get like 1.5, but yeah.
Okay, 1.5. So let's say if I deny 6 creeps, but I'm holding up 2 waves essentially, then I won't be here on time to take the
Right.
cascading wave on the tower, and then the support will farm it or pull it past tower, farm those that need to be killed, which is probably a melee and a range, and then he can maybe drop off 2 melee creeps into this confluence.
Yeah, he could drag it to you. I think that would be the optimal play. If you don't
Yeah.
really care about min-maxing killing the 1.5 waves, you can
Yeah.
actually auto a bit, and then you will meet the wave in time. So there's two
Yeah, so
approaches.
you just balance it out. You kill 2 of your own, you kill 2 of theirs, you kill the rest, and then you can still make it to the tower.
Yes, if your support is gone, that's what you do because you don't want your tier 1 just getting beat on, right? So
Right.
that's what you do when the support is not there. If the support is there, he'll get the wave for you, hopefully.
Okay. Okay. Yes, and that's the timing and the mechanic. That's super helpful. Thank you so much,
Yep,
Draskyl.
yep. Anytime, man.
The final question is, if I am level 3 and I stand here and I do the Q from afar and I don't get punished and it dies, rubber band. I just kind of stick around here. Maybe I do a pull, maybe not, because I don't know if AA put an observer ward here. I don't know if he's gonna mess with me. But as long as I see Jugger farming under his own tower, I'm safe. And then either I do a pull or he blocks it, AA. And then I go back to my tower. I try to do the same thing over and over. Under no circumstance, even in this 1v2, if I'm Underlord, would I like leave. I can't hit jungle creeps. I don't leave the lane forever either. But
Yeah,
what
I
if,
mean,
right?
continue. Yeah, just yeah.
Yeah, like it doesn't feel like level 3 I can leave already.
Yeah, you don't
So
want
what would I
to.
do?
You don't want to, and what you just mentioned, like the strategy of like, yeah, push out, look for a pull, push out, look for a pull. That's what you do. You know, drag the wave. This is a really important thing to know. It's about what the 5 hero is more often than it's
Yeah.
about what the 1 hero is. And what I mean by
Right.
this is that okay, in cases of Monkey King, Weaver, Ricky, whoever else can get to you very quickly from the tower, these heroes you can't really drag against because they will
Right.
just kill you, right?
Right.
If the support is an AA, this guy can't stun you on his own, right? So you could
Yes.
actually drag in this game if you wanted to, even at this point, as long as you know where the Juggernaut is. If you know
Yes,
where the Juggernaut
exactly.
is and you can account for him, then you can drag for free. The AA can never stop you.
Yes,
But
that
if
makes
you,
sense.
yeah, if you're playing against like Bane or Shadow Demon or Dazzle or any of these heroes that have really good chase down potential, if you don't know where they are, they can also get you killed. Now,
Exactly, yes.
there are going to be points where dying for the wave equilibrium is actually okay. So let's talk about a hypothetical where you attempted to drag, but you actually died. Have you ever experienced this before, or do you not know what happens?
No, I've not done that. I have not attempted to drag very
Okay, so
often.
I'll briefly explain just in case this ever happens because it probably will. Because when you first learn how to drag, you're gonna have the Benny Hill music playing, and sometimes you're just gonna eat shit. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what ends up happening is that you actually get double waved because the wave that you drag doesn't make it all the way to its destination.
Oh
So what
yeah.
ends up
And then they go
happening,
back.
it
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
back to where it was. So you get double. But this is still actually okay. And the art of the
Right.
drag is that you're gonna double wave yourself, but guess what that does? That just feeds you EXP. So even if
Yes.
you die, you get a double wave of EXP, right?
Yeah.
This is the thing that people don't understand about dragging is it's sometimes even when you actually die doing it, you still catapult your 3, right? So when you're a 4
That's
player and
true.
you do that pull and you fail, that's one of the things where you're like, "Oh shit. That's actually still good for us because my underlord just got like a full level even though I died."
Yes, yes, yes. That
So,
makes a lot of sense.
yeah,
Because
there are.
you're no matter what, you've pulled them out of their standard walking path, so they are delayed, and then they'll rubber band. I
Yep.
mean, they'll group up and gang up on your wave.
Yep, exactly. So just remember, as Underlord especially, we're playing the EXP game. If that ever needs to happen and you die doing it, don't worry too much about it. Just like the thing that can happen, and this is the worst case scenario for draggers, is that the person dragging the wave dies, and then the person like getting the wave also dies. That is the worst because there are situations where your tower will be under siege by 2 waves. What you have to do in that situation is you have to peel it and run away. You can't just sit there because we're assuming the lane's going poorly, right?
Yeah, they could
If you,
dive you with 2
yeah,
waves. And
you have to
start
be
just like
you have to be very careful to not feed them a kill when that happens because then all the work that happens is negated and then you take huge tower damage and might even lose it.
yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
if that ever occurs, you need to be like, you know, DEFCON freaking 5 high alert, don't die when the wave comes to your tower because that is a catastrophe. You cannot have that
Yeah.
happen.
Okay. Thank you so much, Draskyl.
Yeah,
For taking
absolutely,
the
man.
time.
Anytime.
Yeah. You're still streaming?
Yeah, for a little bit longer.
Okay, guys. Twitch.tv/Draskyl. Draskyl, thank you so much. I'm gonna try to implement these things. Have a great stream.
All right, man. You too. Good luck.
See you, man. Bye.